What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another Friday the 13th review. It's been a hot minute since we've gotten to review a Friday the 13th movie. In fact, I don't even think we've actually sat down and reviewed one since, like, Horrorthon? Like, that long ago? It's been a while.
Yeah.
We've done a review for Jason Goes to Hell before, so I don't want to, like, waste my time and be like, oh, it's a bad movie. You know, like, I want to give you... There's some certain talking points I want to do, and the only reason we're doing this is because if you didn't see our WWE 2K20 Royal Rumble, Savini Jason ended up winning that bad boy. And I said whoever wins, whatever movie they're from, we'll review it, and we'll do a commentary for it. Since Savini is not actually from a movie, we were like, hey, let's just do the movie that probably inspired him, that being Jason Goes to Hell.
Right.
So here we are. So I made like 5 talking points that we'll just dive into and discuss, and that's about it.
I've not seen Jason Goes to Hell in a long, long time.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute. We probably should have done the commentary first, but we don't have time for that. We'll get there.
Someday.
Well, first things first, let's talk about the opening scene and Jason's look. And then also, where is he the rest of the movie? Because, we all know that's like the big flaw of Jason Goes to Hell, right? He's not there. He's a no-show.
Yeah, and I mean, that turned a lot of people off right away, including myself.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about his look first. Like, okay, now that the game is the thing, and I've seen him in game, I don't mind it as much.
Yeah.
Like,
no.
In the game, it's funny, because in the game, I think he looks really good, but in the movie, I think he looks really shitty. I don't know. It almost seems like I think Kane at this time, the way that clothes fits on him, he just looks a little too thick, a little too husky. And then like the colors are a lot different. There's no explanation. Like it literally, even though Adam Marcus claims it's canon, which sure it is, because it is an actual Friday the 13th movie. But like, there's no pickup or explanation of what happened after like part 8. It just doesn't. It just kind of like happens. We just show up. Right. And the eye is no longer in the right spot. He's got a big, bulky brain. It's just it's a weird look. It's a lot different than what we're used to.
Yeah, and I definitely did not dig it. But yeah, like you said, after the game came out, I dig it a little more.
It looks badass in the game, but I just don't get those badass vibes in the movie. I still don't.
Yeah.
And not to mention the first time we see Jason in this movie, he grunts like super, like Kane grunt.
Yeah.
Super loud.
Yeah.
And it's like, where's that been? Why is he all of a sudden grunting? And like because this chick ends up being like a special agent, detective person, army service, and it was all set up to bring in Jason,
Mm-hmm.
But like, I don't know, it's just so weird. Like, she just went out there and she's awkwardly showering, awkwardly fixing the generator. It's like all that time she was just baiting him, and then she runs in a circle forever in her towel. I feel like we could have gone about it in a better way.
Yeah.
Also, why'd they wait so fucking long to, like, she runs forever before they interfere and blow him up. Which him blowing up is kind of cool, by the way.
Yeah, a lot of the problems that, I mean, critics mostly, but I mean people have is the writing. Just at some points, it's just not good.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna sit here and shit on it because Jason's not in it. Things I'm gonna criticize are the things that just don't make sense.
Right.
And that's like one of those things. It's like, okay, all right, but then we're quickly. After he gets blown up, the opening scene is probably the only real like Friday the 13th moment of the movie.
Yeah.
Even though it's all a sham and a setup, and we just kind of pick up there.
Mm-hmm.
We get to the point where at the corner, for some reason, he feels the need to eat the heart. It's like calling to him, so he eats it, and it's kind of gross, but it's kind of cool looking at the same time. And then because he ate Jason's heart, he is now possessed. And we just start bouncing around bodies, and Jason is the embodiment of evil, and that's why he can continue to go around to people.
Right.
And I understand the whole point of taking Jason away, and you can blame Sean Cunningham if you want to, because that's what Adam Marcus says. You can blame Adam Marcus. I don't really care. All I know is Jason's not in the movie.
Right.
And, like, you have it where, like, the point is, he's gone the whole movie. When we get him back, we're cheering. Right, but like I don't know if there's enough in there to keep us entertained,
right? Exactly.
to make that work.
Right.
So bit of it. That's why most people hate it. Whatever. The one really, really, really cool thing about this movie, and where it stands out amongst the other Friday movies and deserves some respect, it by far has the best practical effects in the entire franchise.
Agreed.
Like so many times.
Yeah, and when with that Adam Marcus interview, he talked about some of those.
Yeah,
that was
crazy
dope to hear.
Yeah, like even like I think the one that's probably one of the most memorable ones is like the sex scene, for example, in the tent, and the pole comes through and it cuts up her body and literally like just puts her in two pieces.
Yeah,
it's gnarly. It's some gnarly stuff. And like those are some moments like that in this movie that are really, really great.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where this movie deserves some love.
Yeah.
But just a new talking point here, also on my list here, more things that confuse me. Creighton Duke. I know Creighton Duke has gone into like some comics and it's been explained more thoroughly, but like, who is this guy? Why does he know everything about Jason? Why does he know about the Voorhees family? Why does he know about the Voorhees blade? Why does he know all these things? But we've never, ever heard of him before.
Right.
Again, that's where like the canonness is ruined because like where was this guy before? He's basically Tommy Jarvis. But
I mean, it was just poor writing, and poor writing and or limitations like cutting the film down.
Yeah.
Maybe there was something extra
like,
that they thought of to throw in earlier that explained it a little bit more, and it got cut.
Imagine if you take I like Creighton Duke, don't get me wrong. I think he's actually kind of a cool character. He just doesn't make any sense. But like, imagine you take out Creighton Duke and you just put Tommy Jarvis there instead.
Right.
Like, that's all it would really take. We would buy into that. You have a character now that's from past films, which makes the film feel more canon, makes you feel like you're not just throwing away the things we've already had established.
Yeah, or name him Duke Jarvis. He's related.
Oh, yeah, there you go. I mean, he's black, so it would have been a little hard to buy into that, but
I mean, you know what I mean. Like change the character and have it be a either Tommy or a relative of Tommy.
Yeah. Or like he could have just been a good friend of Tommy. He could have just like mentioning Tommy. Like
right.
He could have done anything.
Yeah. That's how he knows. Like right there. Okay, I can buy into that.
Or his good friend Tommy went missing after part 6 or something like that.
I can buy into that.
Yeah, like something like that would have helped tremendously. It's just otherwise he's just kind of there. Just more things of him just being there. Next on my talking points here, the Necronomicon. Jason's a Deadite. Confirmed. It's canon. It's a thing. The more the Deadite thing is talked about, the more I'm like, all right. Like, it's kind of cool. It explains everything. Although, like, the thing is, and you could ask Sean Cunningham this, and I think he would say this. I think he would agree to this, that Jason never died in the original.
Right.
Like, that's the whole point. Like, he wasn't brought back to life by the Necronomicon. He never died in the first place, and he was scavenging in the woods all those years. So we know that. And then the ending of the first Friday the 13th with Alice in the water, with Jason, that was a vision. That was just like she saw that in her head. It didn't actually happen.
Right.
So when you establish something like, again, now that because you started to put the Necronomicon in, you confirm that Jason's a Deadite. He was brought back with the Necronomicon by his mother, and that's why his soul can transfer bodies and all these things. Like, you explain your movie okay if you know that, although it's never actually, the Necronomicon's not talked about.
Right.
It's just seen.
Right.
You just have to kind of fill in the blanks. You ruin what the previous films already established. Like, supposed to establish.
Right. I mean, yeah, but to that point, like, it was never fully 100% established throughout the series. It was just like Sean Cunningham saying, this is what was the intent.
In all seriousness, though, like, how many times do you think Sean Cunningham has changed his mind on that exact thing over the years?
Yeah.
Like, I bet you there was a time, like, back in the 80s and 90s when he was like, no, Jason died, he came back to life, he's a zombie, like something like that, or he's undead. And then he was like, oh my god, that doesn't make any fucking sense. Part 2 no longer makes sense because why is he suddenly adult overnight? Oh, he didn't die, he scavenged in the woods, and now the time makes sense. He's an adult in part 2.
And then
like, who is it that always bitches about that? The fact that he's an adult all of a sudden. Harrison Smith, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Like
the workout routine at the bottom of the lake.
Yeah. Like, which is like, I get that. That's funny. But like, if he actually didn't die and he was living in the woods and it was just a vision that Alice just had, that makes sense now that he is an adult in part 2.
Right. And then, movie doesn't do as good as he wants it to, and so now he's going to obviously go against it.
Yeah.
Because that's who Sean Cunningham is.
Sean's stories change a lot over the years, and that could just simply be him forgetting things. Simply be, I don't know, wants to look better. I don't know. It's not even that big of a deal. It's just like, you confusing me. That's all.
Right.
So yeah, the whole Jason Goes to Hell makes Jason the Deadite, and there were some further things. If you go watch our interview with Adam Marcus, who by the way was only 23 at the time, but that's how old we are.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, that's how old I am. You're almost there.
Yeah, almost.
But the fact, that's like us diving into a movie like that, and in
a franchise,
into a huge franchise like that. So it makes sense that there be some flaws. And the fact that he was still ballsy enough to change an entire franchise at that age, and so because I feel like if we were to do it, we would follow the lines. We'd be like, this is what a Friday the 13th movie is. This is what we have to do, and maybe here's a little bit we can change to be different. But really, we're gonna stick with the formula.
And I mean, it's hindsight. Now we've seen the reaction to Jason Goes to Hell. Even Freddy versus Jason. We know more what not to do than he did. And yeah, I mean, he took a chance. He's a young director, and he stands by it. Of course, I mean,
I just feel like most people would have played scared there, and he didn't. So you got to respect that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Jason's a Deadite. That's all I really had to go with that. It's just one of those things. How you feel about it is up to you. Another talking point here. Jason talks. Probably my biggest flaw with the movie is the fact that because they had to push plot, they couldn't think of how to make this work. They're like, Jason's got to talk.
Yeah.
And it's stupid. It takes away so much. It's like Jason hasn't talked in so long, ever. We literally have never seen the character speak ever. Now he grunts in the beginning, which is no excuse for that. And then you have him literally speaking inside of another person's body.
Yeah.
Dumb. I don't like it. Don't like that at all.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, that's a major turnoff for all Friday fans, really.
Also, big issue, Voorhees being spelled wrong in the mailbox. Adam Marcus openly admits that is stupid. They fucked up. But what do you do? What do you do?
Can't change it now.
Yep. And last talking point here before we wrap this thing up, let's talk about the ending. I actually think the ending's pretty badass. Okay, because when Jason does come back, he jumps out of the basement. It's cool, and that last ride you get is pretty exciting. It feels like Jason. You have the monkey gym thing going on that he flips over, and Steven being. It's our first legit. Well, I mean, not really, because Tommy fits this category as well, but he's a final boy. Steven's a final boy, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And gets saved by a heroine at the end, which is cool. And she gets to plant the knife because only a Voorhees can kill a Voorhees. It's that those things kind of make sense. That's kind of a fun way to end it. And then with that blade being intact, then you have all the demons from hell coming up and dragging him down, which I think is cool as hell. It's kind of a cool effect, and it makes sense. And it lives up to the title, Jason Goes to Hell.
Yeah. And again, and that brings us to the point why we're even doing this, because Savini Jason in the game, after he got dragged down to hell, he fought the devil.
Out of it. He fought the devil and pulled his way back to Earth.
Took his trident, and he ended up winning our Royal Rumble, and that's why we're here.
That's why we're here right now. Another big positive for this movie is Steven. Since I just brought it up, I think Steven's a pretty awesome character.
Yeah,
he's got some funny lines. He's strong. He's nerdy. It's all these things at the same time, and he's relatable, and I dig that.
Yeah.
My cat's making a bunch of noises over there, just now waking up. Yeah, so I dig Steven as well. Then, of course, the ending that we like, the actual ending that we have to talk about is Freddy's hand coming up, and pulling his mask in. How ballsy was that for them to do that and have his mask be brought down? It's cool, and it was a huge foreshadowing to what we ended up having to wait another 10 years for. It ended up kind of being shit. So,
right. And it was Kane Hodder's hand that
was in the glove.
That was in the sweater, arm, and glove.
Yeah, good stuff. It's a cool ending, and without that ending, Jason Goes to Hell would probably even been more forgotten.
Yeah.
So the fact they held that in there, made it cool
for sure.
Is nice, and I dig it. Out of 10, in terms of what I'd give Jason Goes to Hell now, here's the thing, man. It's got it's got a handful of redeeming factors. But like, and I don't mind that Jason's not in the movie. Of course, I would prefer Jason be in the movie. That's who we come to see. You think Friday the 13th, you think Jason Voorhees,
Right.
But like, I can look past that because I like Halloween 3. So the thing is, though, its writing is a complete mess. It's scrambled up. It throws things at you that never were there before, and it ruins a lot of things that were already previously established in the franchise just because it can, because it wanted to be different.
Right.
And that's where my flaws are. I'd give it a 5.
I have not seen it in so long, and after hearing like the interview with Adam Marcus and even some things that Kane has said, before I would go in with a negative mindset, like no Jason. Like, so I need to watch it again before I can accurately give it a good rating. Like, my initial reaction is like a 3 out of 10.
Yeah.
But I don't want that to be my final stance until I watch it again.
I'll give it a solid 5. Perfectly average. Its script is what's holding it back.
Yeah.
Practical effects are keeping it in the middle.
Yes.
Well, that's our thoughts. Hey, let us know yours in the comments below. Some more WWE 2K things to happen in the future, I'm sure, that allow us to do reviews like this. A lot of that stuff might come from members, though, so if you're not a member, consider joining for just $2. All right, that's all I got. With that, as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.